How you doing?
Arbiter still isn't happy about this show existing. Trust me, bro. I get it. We're back with Halo Season 2, and boy oh boy do I have some shit to say. I've often said that the first season is so atrociously bad that even if the second season was 10 times better, it could still be downright awful. It would take a team to scientifically construct a script worse than Season 1, so by default, it had to be better. Season 1, as a whole, is a 1 out of 10. The reason I'm saying all this pish is that if you're watching a Halo YouTuber and they say this show is better than Season 1, that is not a high bar. We should be demanding more. So how does this season compare to Season 1? Let's find out. A really funny thing to talk about first is Paramount and how they have a 2-month offer for $2.99 a month, which switches to $5.99 a month on the 3rd month. Really strong, please watch our show vibes. They definitely didn't have much faith in Halo, which is insane that that's where we're at. What really drives the point home for this in regards to Halo is that they aired the first 2 episodes this week, and they will be airing 1 episode a week for the next 6 weeks, letting people know they have plenty of time to watch their show before their subscription runs out, because who the hell is subbing to Paramount? Alright, let's kick this episode off. We start out with our intrepid Spartan standing on some rocks overseeing an attempted evacuation from a planet. The locals are defending their shaman, and she doesn't want to leave their home. The UNSC seems very authoritative, and Kai's commentary is that the captain on site is winning the hearts and minds of the locals, sarcastically of course. To be fair, I'd probably be being a little pushy if I was the only thing standing between these people and annihilation. John wants to push in closer, and the first CGI scene of him jumping off a rock needs some touching up. It looked a bit flumpy. Venick gripes about providing Overwatch to their sniper, which immediately made me think, either he's taken out his dumbass emotional pellet, or they're ignoring that mechanic altogether. I would much prefer the latter, because that element of Season 1 was dumb as fuck. There's a scene of them running to the site where the people are being evacuated, or attempting to be evacuated, and the CGI is pretty flumpy. They're very confident about it though. I would say the CGI is far better than when Kai jumped onto Dr. Halsey's spaceship, because that looked like Ant-Man's daughter running, but definitely not fantastic in this season. And they show a lot of it. Know your strengths, people. We then get a scene where Kai asks Venick, "Did you pull your pellet out?" To which he says no. It would have been better if they just ignored this altogether. Venick then admits that he pulled it out 3 weeks ago. I'm assuming they're trying to forget about that retardation, but why bring it up in the first place then? I noticed he questioned Chief's orders on Overwatch, and cartoonishly threw a little fit about it, so I thought that was how they were going to tell us, but no, we need a line, wasting time talking about it like we couldn't figure it out ourselves. He then tells Kai he watches TV about animals and shit. I'm really happy we're talking about this. Heading back to the evacuation site, the shaman then says that the UNSC fucked over her people 42 years ago, that they evacuated her planet to save them, and left them on the planet that they're currently at. The UNSC is genuinely just trying to save them, but they're being pretty incompetent about it. The government is here to forcefully help. Normally, not a good thing at all, but in this universe, I feel like you can justify it when you have an alien race coming to wipe you out and glass your whole planet, killing you and all your loved ones and all your friends. The shaman asks Chief if he has faith or family, and I gotta say, I really like how much he's not talking right now. He's actually emoting with the helmet, something they thought they couldn't do. They get notified that the Covenant is very close. Master Chief is now running to Bravo Team, who they lost contact with. And again, the running animations are pretty flumpy. He gets there, everything's all foggy, and the Marines are gone. He wants to check something out. Venick tells him the Covenant's closing in, but then the comms get real shoddy. Master Chief suddenly starts getting shot at by human weapons, and it's the comms team missing him. John Halo sighs and yells at them to stop shooting. And then when they tell him that they're comms Marines, he says, "I could tell by how bad your aim was," and I thought that that was a pretty good joke. I mean, Earthside comms Marines can shoot pretty good, but this is a different universe, so pretty funny. We get a really bombastic action scene right in the beginning of the show, just like the first season, and the action scene is definitely an improvement from the first season. The elites look better, like they've been redesigned. They look leaner and thinner, like that in Halo 2, instead of big, round, and brutish, like a mix between a brute and a beetle from the Halo TV show Season 1. During the fight, Master Chief uses an assortment of weapons in close-range combat. I appreciate the use of the assault rifle, shotgun, and pistol, and combat knife in this fight scene alone. One elite grabs and throws Chief instead of just stabbing him in the back, which leads to his immediate death. Stuff like this annoys me because when bad guys grab and throw their enemy when they have a perfect opportunity to kill them, it's just a sign of plot armoring, kind of sucks you out of it. Immediately after he throws Chief, he pulls a sword out. It's like, mate, just stab him in the back.
Next! I'm ready! How about you?
I'm digging the way the elites look more, but their sound design is meh. They sound more like monsters than they did in their video game stuff. The last comms marine alive, which is this young female corporal, is about to get killed by an elite, and Master Chief shoves her out of the way to save her life and fuck the elite up. And I really like how that hurts her bad because of how strong Spartans are, especially when fully suited up. Like, he just launches her ass, and she's down for the count for the rest of the fight completely. So in an attempt to save her, he almost kills her because of how strong he is. I just like little details like that. More elites surround Chief and ignite their swords, creating the scene from the trailer that I said I liked. And then the leader elite turns his head like he's listening to something, and then they all deactivate their swords and walk away. And then this human-like figure is in the distance. It was looking at Chief, and then it walked away. The Covenant start glassing the place immediately, and the locals regret their decision not to evacuate. One Pelican taking off, right next to Master Chief and the other Spartans' Pelican, gets blasted with perfect accuracy from one of the ships. But the Pelican Master Chief is on, that was parked right next to it, is totally fine for some reason. The ship doesn't shoot them at all. Also, I would like to take a second to point out the Covenant should not be trying to glass Master Chief. If he's still a blessed one, then he's the only one that can interact with the Keystone. He should be priority number one. But if they're dropping that, cool. I guess we'll find out. If he's no longer a blessed one and they just forget about all that shit, I would be pretty dang happy about that. On the way out, the shaman woman tells Chief to find faith because she has seen his death, and it is soon. I gotta say again, I really like how much Master Chief is not talking and using the helmet more to emote. Definitely an improvement from the first season. I have to point out my notes here because this part's hilarious. I wrote down, we are 16 minutes in, and Master Chief still has not taken off his helmet. And immediately when I got done jotting that down, he took his helmet off. So I paused the TV, and look, we made it literally 15 minutes and 48 seconds.
Good job.
I mean, that is some hilarious timing. I know now that he doesn't stay like this, but I'm just going to say that the first 15 minutes of this show focused on John Halo. He was acting more like Master Chief here than anything, and he was fully helmeted up. I wonder if there's a connection. We cut to the intro, and they're actually using the music from Halo. I mean, I really like hearing it, but damn, you haven't earned it. Ah yes, we hard cut to Master Cheeks, naked in the shower. Gotta have our John Halo naked shower scene, baby. Listen, I understand you guys are annoyed that Master Chief is taking his helmet off, so what we're gonna do is get him completely naked. We then cut to an exposition scene between Captain Keyes and the 4 Spartans on Silver Team. The exposition scene is alright. The stuff that he's saying is stuff that the Spartans should be aware of, but they're using it to tell us about what planets have been glassed by the Covenant. It would have been better if there was a new Spartan on the team that hasn't been caught up to speed. Maybe a temporary replacement for Riz because of how fucked up she is. Then we get the absolute best news in the show so far. While he's going over what planets have been destroyed, he casually glazes over Madrigal getting fucking glassed. If Quan was there doing her stupid rebellion bullshit, then Quan is fucking dead. I'm not kidding, I felt genuine happiness when this happened. This was the happiest I'd been in the Halo TV show yet. If that's true, show, you just jumped up like a few notches, a whole few notches in my book. This is where we meet James Ackerson, played by Joseph Morgan, who I'm a big fan of. I liked Ackerson's intro so far. It helps that I'm a big fan of the actor. And even if they give him shit material, he'll probably be entertaining to watch. Since Halsey was written to be a cartoonishly evil, batshit insane bitch, she's gone, and Ackerson is taking over the Spartan program. Ackerson is a big dog at ONI, the Office of Naval Intelligence. We then move to a scene where some people are auctioning off survivors of glassed planets to the highest bidder. The redhead the camera keeps focusing on references Planet Harvest. Neat. I like that book. Honestly, this whole scene is pretty cringe. I kind of wish we weren't spending time on this. The redhead knows where Halsey is, and Soren is interested, but then denies taking him. After refusing the purchase, Soren then nods to one of his pirates, who motion like they're going to follow the kid out. So, are you attempting to rob the kid, or close the deal in private? I don't know. Oh, just so you know, I keep referring to him as a kid, but he's probably like over 20. He's a young adult. Now we have John Halo in regular clothes again, because we were all so desperate for that shit. John Halo and Ackerson are having a one-on-one conversation I kind of like. It's revealed that Ackerson has field experience. It always feels better amongst enlisted when the pencil pusher telling you where to go shoot stuff has been in the shit before. I just feel like this type of concern would be better coming from a UNSC Marine or ODST, not Chief. I just really like the way he was characterized in the game so much. He's just so chatty here, and fuck me, man, it doesn't make any sense with his background. They talk about how Cortana was taken out of his head, maybe trying to apply a bandage on the dumbass decision to put him directly in his freaking brain in the first place. When they inevitably reunite, maybe it'll be a chip in his helmet. You know, like the games, because that makes more sense. They fucked up so much in Season 1. During the conversation, Ackerson made John feel comfortable, so John started to open up, and then Ackerson starts drilling him with questions. Ackerson is clearly the most intelligent character that's ever been in this show, and we've only had about 3 minutes of screen time with him. Well, to be fair, this is John Halo, and he is dumb enough to fall for the tricks of a Covenant spy in the first season, so Ackerson undercutting him here isn't really that impressive. Listen, the bar is so fucking low that yes, he's barely been on screen and Ackerson is probably the smartest character in the show right now. He hasn't said anything dumb yet, so that pushes him to the top of the list. We now have a scene when a new team of Spartans called Cobalt have a locker room banter scene straight out of some high school teenage drama. This new team just starts ripping into Silver Team for removing their pellets, and made a couple of jokes about how it makes you emotional, and how they have feelings now. Haha, you have feelings, fag. Like, it was ridiculous. Yet, the new Spartans laugh. The Spartans with emotional inhibitors laugh. So, they have emotions? Did they take out their pellets? If they did, why would they be ripping on Silver Team for doing that? Better question, why are the pellets even a fucking thing? This entire scene is fucked. None of this works. Yet another reason they should have just pretended the pellets didn't exist. They had a perfect opportunity here to treat the Spartans like they would actually be in this world. The training that they've undergone, the augmentations, the combat, that's what would form them to be the types of people that they would be. Not little NyQuils sticking in at the base of their spine. But if they don't want to ignore the pellets and they want to keep that mechanic in there, how the hell are multiple Spartans able to remove this without getting the attention of the UNSC, wondering why their Spartans are going from these robotic killing machines that never deny orders to these emotional messes? I just don't get it. This shouldn't be happening. None of this works. And it shouldn't be public knowledge that these people are removing their pellets. And this team shouldn't be laughing at them because they don't have emotional... Nothing about the pellets work. They should have just fucking ignored it. The introduction of more Spartans in Reach was a lot better. You really felt like they were mission-focused and battle-hardened and genetically enhanced super soldiers. They each had unique personalities that worked in this universe with the types of shit that they would have put up with throughout their lives. This whole locker room scene just felt ridiculous and totally out of place. It also just doesn't work mechanically. I feel like it's too much banter for the types of lives these people have lived, since they were kidnapped and experimented on as children, and been trained to be killing machines for their entire lives. Ackerson is now lying to the public on the news about their position in the war, saying that they're winning because they have heroes, while the Covenant is absolutely dominating these planets that they visit. The "We have heroes" line was fluff for the public image, so it is way less annoying to me now than when I heard it in the trailer. It genuinely pissed me off in the trailer, but now that I have the context, it's way less cringe. This is going to be something I'm going to bitch about heavily as we move on, so I'll keep it brief here. But the Covenant are clearly very superior, very organized, and more capable in all forms of combat than the UNSC. It should be absolutely expected that they know how to sack a planet. Ackerson is kind of blowing off Chief about how they're training to assault a bigger planet, where the alternative would be them glassing the planet from space. I don't know if they have the means to defend an assault of that kind. I'm assuming that they do, because the Covenant want to do things like learn how to take down communications and make them blind so that they can assault the planet easier. But this is the kind of stuff that they should just assume they know how to do. They should just be prepared to defend on the planet, in space, everywhere. At least in Halo Reach, the video game, that stuff was just expected. The only reason the Covenant was able to do what they did is because they had better ships and vastly outnumbered the humans. Once the entire fleet showed up, humanity knew that they were fucked and they just needed to get off world. Something all the Bungie Halo games nailed was showing, not telling. They never needed to establish that the Covenant knew how to do a thing. When they did a thing, it was just expected that they knew how to do it because of how smart and competent they were. In the show, they were so dumb in the first season, they probably do feel a little insecure and feel like they need to justify why the Covenant knows how to sack a planet like Reach that's heavily defended, because it should just be a walk in the park to defeat the Covenant, since Silver Team and Cortana with one Pelican was able to take out like a fucking gazillion elites in the finale. I don't know. This just seems like a really weird plot point. I guess we'll have to wait and see where it goes in the show. If it were me, I would just say ignore all of that shit and just play the show as if the Covenant is like the Covenant in the video games. It's expected that the Covenant know how to sack a planet. Soren has a conversation with his son about there being no such thing as monsters. It drags on a little long, and you can see that Soren doesn't really believe what he's saying. I don't know. I feel like that scene could have been better. I'm a sucker for good father-son or father-daughter scenes in media, but this one didn't really do it for me. So now they have the red-headed boy, and they're gonna go look for Halsey with him. So Soren gets his armor on, and they leave. We're back with John again, who is now out in public in civilian attire, because of course he is. He's secretly meeting up with Perengoski. I think that was her name. I honestly can't remember. I'll flash her on screen right now. She wants John to bring him the information that Ackerson won't listen to, and that's basically it. We then cut back to Soren and the redhead and the other pirates. The scenes between them were okay. The redhead is just inquiring why Soren wants Dr. Halsey so bad. And then he pushes a little too far with his question and it makes Soren uncomfortable. It was okay stuff. I didn't dislike it. They then find a damaged ship that they're going to need to hop in base suits to go out there and extract Dr. Halsey from the cryo chamber that she's sleeping in. The redhead and Soren put on the suit. They go walking through the thing, and I really like the detail of the magnetic feet. They're walking very slowly, and it's clunky, and it actually feels real, like they tried. Like I said, the cinematography and the efforts on things like this are just far better than the first season. Just little touches like that, they go a long way. It's a lot easier for my brain to think, oh, they have spacesuits with giant magnets on their feet to keep them from floating out into fucking space, instead of a Harry Potter contraption where you get inside of a space tram car and it throws you at a cable, and if you're lucky it'll catch, because if it misses you're just going to float off until you die or hit a sun or crash into a planet. That whole asteroid scene from season 1 was fucking dumb, but I see them hop in spacesuits and it's clunky and it feels real, and I go, yeah, I like this. I can get behind this. We're now setting up a scene where Soren walks right into a trap. The redhead is actually an undercover Oni official who wants to arrest Soren. At least I think he was Oni. I can't quite remember. But the setup was actually pretty smart. In season 1, Soren does some pretty dumb shit. So him falling for a trap that was set up poorly isn't off the table, but they actually have this trap set up pretty well. The people pay off his pirates, who were already getting disenfranchised with him, to bring him to this area, get him out of his armor because he had to fit in the astronaut gear, go walk through the ship in space, so he's going to be weakened and more vulnerable. And then the redhead creates distance between himself and Soren. He opens up the cryo tube, and Halsey's not there. And then like 8 or 10 flashlights turn on, and they're all a bunch of officials with stun guns. Soren gets a couple hits in, but he's totally screwed here, and they arrest him. I'm simply praising the execution of the scene here. It wasn't super dumb that he walked into this trap. He had a reason to be eager to get to Halsey. Number one, she costs a lot of money, and there's a personal reason. We're now back with my favorite character, John Halo, who walks into a hologram brothel place. I'm not kidding. This was very strange. It's not actually a brothel, but it had strong brothel vibes, like cyberpunk, cyber girlfriend for money type stuff. And this is our Master Chief in the Halo TV series. Walks in with his hood up, sits down, swipes his card, and then pulls up a hologram that looks like Cortana because he's feeling emotional that she's not in his head anymore. It was so cringe. I'm just really happy we're spending time on this. We then cut to an elite on a mountaintop, and there's a shot where a bunch of Covenant cruisers and supercarriers rise from the clouds. I was kind of getting strong vibes from Rise of Skywalker, but they weren't busting through the ground with the Force, so I would say it was far better. Like, it wouldn't damage their ship to do what they did. It just didn't really make a whole lot of sense that they would all be that low to the ground and then they would all go up at the same time. The Covenant always had like a staggered formation, and they hung out in space as often as they could. I don't know. The shot looked okay, but it didn't really make a lot of sense. I don't really appreciate really good visuals if the setup doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why all of the Covenant were gathered up together underneath the clouds, and then this elite stands in front of them on a rock, so then they all rise up to get it doesn't make sense why it happens. So even if the shot looks cool, it kind of undercuts it, that it doesn't make any sense. We're now getting a strange voiceover as the outro is happening in the show, and I recognize this voice. I'm not happy about this voice. What's going on? It's talking about monsters, and a fucking Quan is back. I feel like it's thematically relevant that the first episode of Season 1 ended with Master Chief taking his helmet off, and then the first episode of Season 2 ended with Quan Ha still being alive and very much a part of this show, doing weird cryptic cave shit because she's a protector, proper noun. They really want to take this show about the Halo universe into this entirely magical prophecy bullshit realm. I'm really annoyed she's still in this show for a number of reasons. And talk about a fucking shitty cliffhanger. I hate magic in this universe. 343, you suck. Cliffhangers are supposed to get you excited for the next episode. It's supposed to make you go, I could watch another one. We're not talking about episode 2 yet, but both episode 1 and episode 2 of this show have the reverse effect of what cliffhangers are supposed to do. A reasonable person would watch this cliffhanger and think, you know what, I'm good. I'm not coming back. How are you going to have a throwaway scene where Captain Keyes talks about Magical getting glassed, and then you don't have Quan in the show at all? And then you end episode 1 with her still being alive, when it was pretty broadly accepted that she was a horrible addition to the Halo universe. The same with Makee. Like, what the hell were you thinking with a cliffhanger like that? I would like to point out that Master Chief almost threw away his entire life for Quan, and he hasn't spoken about her one time. Alright, episode 1 is finally over. Let's talk about some stuff. Overall, the action, CGI, and cinematography is better than the first season. You can tell that the writers are working a little bit harder to make the plot make more sense. There aren't gaping holes and cracks bleeding all over the place in the first episode like in the other season. You can tell there's a genuine attempt for better dialogue, And for the most part, it is better, but still not great. You can also tell that they're working harder to make the characters make more sense. I think the best characters so far are Ackerson, Venick, and I'm pretty interested in the story for the new Corporal Talia Perez. I think the perspective of a scared shitless UNSC comms marine that's brand new to all of this is more interesting than anything they've done with the Spartans. I thought Pablo was fine as Master Chief for the first 15 minutes of the show when his helmet was on and he was acting kind of like Master Chief, just like in the last season. But now he's right back to my least favorite character in the show. I only say that because McKee is dead. I know, we'll get to that. They made some really weird-ass decisions, like having the whole auctioning people off scene. I guess I could see that happening in the universe, with planets being glassed, but I don't know. I feel like there's so much rich material in the Halo universe that you don't need to spend time on that kind of stuff. Like I said, the first season was so bad that this season would need to be light years better to even reach the benchmark of being good. I see a lot of genuine attempts to improve upon this show. I worry about where it's going. I really can't stand John Halo in this show, which really pains me to say because Master Chief was always one of my favorite characters. His characterization in this show is so fucking lame, it makes it really hard to watch. Like, I genuinely hated Season 1. This one, as it stands, is less painful, still very annoying because of how good the story is in the Halo video games. I really did like the opening action scene, but action scenes don't do anything for me if there's no characters. I can't help but feel a little bit like I'm watching Master Chief when the helmet is on, so it helps trick my brain into rooting for him, I guess. There are a couple of scenes of Chief with no armor I didn't hate, but the fucking AI brothel scene really fucked my head. I'm saying I didn't hate them in isolation, like as scenes they were fine. I don't want to see Master Chief doing this stuff though. A lot of people don't. Like, just put the man's armor and helmet back on. Just do the show over again, probably in movie form. I'm thinking a movie trilogy with a prequel and a spin-off. Almost exactly how they did the games. So that was Halo the series, Season 2, Episode 1. Far better than anything in Season 1, but still pretty bad. And John Halo still sucks. There are some elements of the plot I want to elaborate more during my Episode 2 video, because I feel like it fits better with what's happening in that episode. My Episode 2 video will be out before Thursday, so I'll catch you all in a few days, and thank you for watching.
Nice knowing you, jackass!
No! I'll stop!